Welcome to another episode of Book of Jake. It's episode 18. The big question is, how does one go from a sound engineer and to become one of the most iconic singers in the country in that genre? So we have Reshmonu here,
My man.
also known as Hirish Haridas Menon.
Trust. No, Menon.
No,
That's his Menon. Don't get me mixed up with
people I
his
love
Menon.
a lot. So
Right.
Hirish,
Haridas.
very, very old friend of mine.
Yes,
He's
sir.
been in the industry for so long. So we get straight into it.
But
So-
before we get into it, let me just congratulate you, my friend,
Thanks, buddy.
on the Book of Jake.
Thank you.
You know,
Just-
one can learn a lot from this man because you
Nah,
just
I
can't.
learned-
No, you can't keep up with this chap, lah.
No,
you
no,
know.
no.
I mean, if he's not running radio
all praise to Allah,
stations,
so,
he's
yeah.
writing books. What's next? Oh, I'm sorry, you're here to interview me, right?
yeah. So
Let's
all
go.
praise to God. So
Yeah.
very good segue into your journey because I know you as when I first knew you, you were a production engineer who had this great music and you wanted to show it off. And start from there.
Well, I mean, like every Indian boy story, education was a must, right? So I did strike a deal with my parents.
What did you study?
I actually studied I did a Bachelor of Engineering in E&E,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So I graduated, with a Bachelor of Engineering, and but I also had a side understanding.
Hustle,
Yeah, side hustle. I mean, I did sound engineering first, and then when I finished my Bachelor of Engineering, I did make a deal with my parents. I said, listen, I've done the educational bit. Let me pursue my passion. Let me pursue my dreams. I think a foundation is very important for anyone out there. Educational foundation.
Do you still think it is?
I definitely do. I definitely do because I tell you what. Because fast forward so many years later, not a lot of people know this, but I actually have a brand of LED lights, and I light up football fields.
Oh, wow.
And buildings. So you see, it all comes around
Yes,
eventually.
yes.
It's always good to have that safety blanket.
Yes.
So whilst going back to the story, whilst I was working in a studio as a sound engineer, and in a club as well, I conceived the idea of working on my music. Now I knew it was a wild shot. Right, but it's just something in me that needed to be done. I took 3 years at it. I worked with some interesting co-producers like Damien, right? And took about 3 years to finish the album. Coincidentally, I finished the degree. The timing was right.
Okay.
And then was the label shopping. Bro,
Tough.
Nobody
wanted it,
No, the typical story, lah.
I know the stories, but I want to hear from you. Yeah.
Well, nobody, bro. Nobody opened the doors for me. There was some interest, but then, it just didn't go through. Eventually, I found myself an Indian distributor, right? Dhanush. That's right.
Dhanush,
So Dhanush Records. This guy was distributing Indian movies, and
yes,
so he had
yes.
a couple of shops around. And I remember signing my first album deal with Dhanush at Batu Caves in a mamak shop. So
You should go there and have a reunion.
I know, bro. But I remember Desmond. Desmond is the owner of Dhanush Records. I remember he's like, "Why me?" Right? For me, it's why not? I mean, who's to set the norm?
Exactly.
Right? This is the
Exactly.
entertainment field. We get
Exactly.
as creative as
Exactly.
possible.
Exactly.
Right? Cut long story short, I eventually managed to get the album on as nominations.
Hits,
No.
Before that, huh?
Just before that.
Yeah.
So what happened was it all happened very concurrently, Jake. Again, radio shopping is a good segue as well. Some of the radios were a little hesitant, right?
Because at those days,
it was-
Malaysian English was, and I just started Met 10. Yeah,
You just exactly. So you just started Met 10, and I remember I brought to you I met Kutsia first before I met you, and I brought to her my Malay track Cintaku Pergi. She liked it, but before anything could move there, I remember you calling me up, and Jake has this wonderful way of expressing himself. If he liked it, you'll know he liked it, right?
If you don't like it, I'll tell you I don't
exactly.
like it.
I was getting to that. So I mean, here's Jake, and I remember meeting Jake for the first time in his office, and he kept playing, the intro. It was all about,
First 3 seconds.
The first 3 seconds, Jake was, and he kept playing that game. It was Walk Away Slow Jam.
Yes,
that was the first
loved it,
single.
yeah.
You loved it then.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about it, and Met 10 was on,
Yeah.
and the song started rotation on Met 10. I thought, great, finally there was a radio station that was actually featuring local songs, right? Putting them on a charts, giving some sort of a game for people to aim at, right?
It's sort of a channel to
and bro, essentially that's how my musical career started. It started with you and the opportunity
Thank you.
and not just me. Right, I know Matt Chan gave a lot of people, opportunities as well.
Just to add to that, if you're a radio station listening to this, and even the stations I consult, I still believe that our radio stations need to carry, especially the English stations, 20-25% local content. I still believe that. I've always maintained that. I remember the first song that I played was actually Evening News by Jason Law. And then you were there, and I remember you wrote for James Bond Skirts also.
That's right.
So a lot of good music, Pop Shaved and all that, but what happened in the last 15 years is shocking. There's a story for another day. But what an amazing journey from where it came. I remember, your dad, your late father was in the video. So walk us through the journey and the awards.
Okay, so I got, I remember putting in the nominations for AIM, right? And suddenly I received a call saying that, I went for the nomination press conference and I received like a total of 8 nominations.
Wow.
Right? So this is something at that point
Tracy
in time.
Chapman moment.
It was. And here I was up against all the names that I've already known. And of course they were also looking at, siapa ni, right? So that whole thing started.
Who's this Indian boy who didn't finish his haircut?
Actually, who was trying to figure out his haircut, actually. Yeah, and that's how it all started. And I was lucky enough to latch on to a good management company that was managing my music, Fuse. That's right, Fuse. And that's, so then shows started coming in. And then, of course, the typical story of all the labels.
Everybody
suddenly I'm having these meetings, 12-seater tables, dinner, discussing. And I remember telling myself, okay.
Where were you all before? Huh?
Yeah, I was saying, where were you all before, right? But never mind, it's okay because I've been brought up in a very positive family, so we like to look at the positive.
Yeah, I remember
things,
your late father. He was very supportive.
And I wasn't going to bicker about the past. For me, it was about okay, what's next, right? Okay, I'm here, I'm soaking it in. What can you do for me versus that label, right? I signed my first album deal with Sony BMG actually.
I remember this.
Right? Yeah, and that's when I created Hey Wale.
That was amazing.
That was the biggest hit by far, right? And that took on radio airplay. Correct.
It was different. It was. I hate to use the phrase. It was very ethnic, and you change your personality. Even till today, you carry that very. /Zainal /
That's right.
And then you got into that Afro beat and
I remember this. The other song that was quite a big hit was this "It's You That Matters."
So
that had a bit of an Afro beat, going on in the background. But Jake, the journey has been interesting. After signing with Sony BMG, I've had the opportunity of signing with Universal. Then Full Story came around. I decided to build a platform. So at one point in time, I had my own record label.
Yes,
I had my own talent management company, R Records. I had my own talent management company. Then I started directing music videos. Right, so I started directing my own videos, and then I created this platform to try and help upcoming artists with the singles market. Where we had tied a deal with Maxis. And, so it's been an interesting ride, Jake. For me today, when I look back, I'm like, everything I wanted to do and more, I've done. But I've just come full circle, and now it's come back to me.
You had to pay the dues.
Exactly. I had to pay the dues.
So, I have a couple of questions.
Please.
First question is, are you a better singer or songwriter?
I'd like to think both.
But if you had to pick.
If I had to pick, I think entertainer. I'd like to use the word entertainer, singer, right? Because when you give me that microphone and I get on stage,
you enjoy yourself.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I just feel at home. There's nothing.
I watch his videos on Instagram, so he's just enjoying himself.
I'm enjoying myself. I am. It's just
you like attention, which is a very good trait for an entertainer.
Right.
Which is really good. Even with his kids, his 3 sons, he's always
I'm very hands-on. What you see is what you get. I keep telling people what I put out on social media, is me, and it's a pocket of my memories. Right? So it's, if you follow, you follow. If you don't, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
It will always be there. So
that's for sure.
So walk me through that. And how you overcame it.
Okay. So this is where fitness comes into play, right? So
beautiful.
I got into fitness 18 years ago. The day I held my first born child, holding him, I remember telling myself,
where are my biceps?
no, bro, there was no biceps then. There was no biceps then, I promise you. I remember telling myself, oh my God, I need to be strong for this boy. Right? And then
Amazing,
I remember I had this internal conversation, wait a minute, it's just not about being strong for the boy, it's about being strong for me too. I need to change things, and so the transformation started then, right? And it's been a fantastic fitness journey. I mean, I've been through all sorts of things. I've taken part in competitions. I've done, I've dabbled in CrossFit. I've gone into Olympic weightlifting, right?
I've been watching you.
Yeah, and I'm at a stage in my life with fitness where I'm actually programming stuff. I really know my body. Now, the thing about the biggest misconception about fitness is everybody feels and thinks that if they see something, that's what they should do. But you see, I'm telling people that we're all built differently. I mean, you can squat X amount, I can squat X amount. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're a better squatter than I am, right? So it's how you really perceive fitness. Now, coming back to the point, fitness really changed my thought process. Fitness is really put things into perspective for me. Every time I've hit a negative wall, right?
You use the energy.
I use the energy, I bounce right back up. It's not about bickering. I speaking about, you said you watched my podcast. I remember watching something you said, warrior's mentality.
Yeah.
And I think in that term, bro, you and I are very similar.
Yes.
We, with all the adversities that hit us, right?
I'm just going to stop you there and just, you say we are similar, but I actually feel that we sort of attract the same kind of energy. If you look at my circle, it's becoming smaller, but it's this very similar people. And you will, am I right?
Yes. I mean, it's there. It's. I mean, as you grow older and wiser, you don't want to waste time with bullshit, lah. Right?
Completely.
You can smell
no
it.
Drama,
No drama. You smell it a mile away. When someone comes up to you with a story, it's like, bro. What's the point? Just tell me the point. Okay, it needs to be fixed. Fix it. Right? There's really no point bickering about a problem and running by back. This is not a counseling session, right? You can spend all the time you want talking about a problem. Is that going to solve your problem?
Yes.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not. So what fitness did for me was give me a sense of clarity. And with this clarity, I was put through the biggest test in my life. It's one of those things. Really, people. Life is what you make of it.
That's great.
Really, that's what it is. When
you're at your happiest now, right?
I am.
Okay.
I actually, believe it or not, I am at that. I'm at a point in my life where I'm doing what I love to do.
Fantastic.
My boys are happy, and that's the most important thing. So yes, I'm at the happiest I'm at right now. But
so
fitness put it all in perspective.
Can I just interrupt you one
Please.
minute and just say that I actually, after hearing your story, I actually feel that you have progressed mind, body, and soul.
Oh yeah.
In this period, and you're in such a very mature place that you know what I mean. You just all these things that has happened before. I wouldn't take it as mistakes.
No.
It's just lessons for you to be the man you are today.
Absolutely correct. I mean, bro, my late dad used to say, "You learn until your dying day." We all keep learning, bro, and we're going to keep making more mistakes.
Yes,
because that is the journey of life. But what I'm telling my children is, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, the bigger test is how you're going to handle these mistakes, right? And this is where I found something, which I'm sure even you found, right? Fitness.
Exactly. Gives me the discipline. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was the turning point in my life, for me, and it was the biggest test. And I'd like to say I've successfully come out of it, right? We got a happy family, right?
Fantastic.
There's no drama.
Wedding bell soon?
No, I'm taking my time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking my
Inshallah.
time. Yeah. I'm taking my time. But
so you're happy, man.
An invitation card will come your way.
Definitely.
For sure, right?
Your parting was one good advice you can talk to, people who are in the industry.
Okay. So I just like to say something. I think is very, very important. I think it, like in anything you do in life, right? If you put your heart and soul into it, right? No matter how it's perceived, it'll always come out beautiful, right?
Interesting.
And when you do, and this is where everyone forgets. I think they're always lost in this. When you do achieve that success that you're looking for, don't forget to share. We get so caught up with everything we do that we actually forget to share, right? What is knowledge if it's not transferable?
Totally, and this whole podcast is about
This
that.
whole, bro. I mean,
I wrote a book.
You put it exactly.
So for that, it's just to share. But
So to people in the industry, I'm celebrating my 48th birthday very shortly.
He's young man.
I'm feeling young, bro. Feeling young. I'm working on a new album that's coming out. Something that's again passion.
Let Fly know. We'll definitely support.
Definitely, I'm working with Bo, co-producer, Bobo, and there's very interesting flavors. As usual, it's going to be a potpourri of flavors. So
typical Resh.
I think the biggest message everyone should take home from this podcast is never quit. Just keep moving.
This I think Bruce Lee's saying, where you fall down 7, get up 8. Yeah, thanks, Resh. Thanks a lot, buddy.
My man,
thanks,
thank you so much.
Old friend.
Yeah.
Guys, once again, like I said, if you like this podcast, like, subscribe, share it, and if you know of anybody who wants to appear in the podcast, just drop me a line or drop me a comment. I'll definitely hit. And also check out Instagram. You're on Instagram as Reshmonu.
Yeah, that's right.
With Jake Abdullah, and help to support the local music scene. And inshallah, we see you soon. Take it easy.